Welcome to the 81st Starter CAD PC video. The build's finished, and we've been using CAD, and so today we are going to be going over, I'm just going to be reflecting on the build and saying like basically what I would do differently next time, what I could do better. So I don't know if this is going to be a video or multiple yet. It's all part of the series on the playlist Starter CAD PC on this channel, on my channel, using CAD, and so today we are going to be going over so that I can respond to anybody. I'm just going to be reflecting on the build and saying like basically what I would do differently next time. Well, we could do better sort of reflections. I think I'm going to be going through, so I don't know if this is going to be a video or multiple yet. It's all part of the series on the playlist Starter CAD PC on this channel right now. I definitely have a few thoughts using CAD, and so today we are going to be going over sort of go through it in a linear order. I'm just going to be reflecting on the build and saying like basically what I would do differently next time. Well, we could do better sort of reflections. I think I'm going to be going through, so I don't know if this is going to be a video or multiple yet. It's all part of the I want to go through it in a linear order. Starter CAD PC on this channel right now. I definitely have a few thoughts using CAD, and so today we are going to be going over to go through it in a linear order. I'm just going to be reflecting on the build and saying like basically what I would do differently next time. Well, we could do better sort of like reflections. I think I'm going to be going through, so I don't know if this is going to be a video or multiple yet. It's all part of the I want to go through it in a linear order. Starter CAD PC on this channel right now. I definitely have a few using CAD, and so today we are going to be going over to go through it in a linear order. I'm just going to be reflecting on the build and saying like basically what I would do differently next time. Well, we could do better sort of like reflections. I think I'm going to be going through, so I don't know if this is going to be a video or multiple yet. It's all part of the I want to go through it in a linear order. Starter CAD PC on this channel right now. I definitely have a few using CAD, and so today we are going to be going over to go through it in a linear order. I'm just going to be reflecting on the build and saying like basically what I would do differently next time. Well, we could do better sort of like reflections. I think I'm going to be going through, so I don't know if this is going to be a video or multiple yet. It's all part of the I want to go through it in a linear order. Starter CAD PC on this channel right now. I definitely have a few using CAD, and so today we are going to be going over to go through it in a linear order. I'm just going to be reflecting on the build and saying like basically what I would do differently next time. Well, we could do better sort of like reflections. I think I'm going to be going through, so I don't know if this is going to be a video or multiple yet. It's all part of the I want to go through it in a linear order. Starter CAD PC on this channel right now. I definitely have a few using CAD, and so today we are going to be going over to go through it in a linear order. I'm just going to be reflecting on the build and saying like basically what I would do differently next time. Well, we could do better sort of like reflections. I think I'm going to be going through, so I don't know if this is going to be crazy sound video or sorry about that. Okay, so this is my first PC build, and the goal is to build a Nix machine. So we'll probably be we'll be sort of bouncing around here. I'm not going to go through each video, you know. It's not going to be that slow, I don't think. I don't know, we'll see. But I just started out, I was here, there's like, oh, my goal is to build a Nix computer, which I didn't do, right? I sort of pivoted the build to a CAD build. And so and it pivoted to Ubuntu. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna keep going here. That can do sort of basic creativity business. So you see I started out on Part Picker. Part Picker is really useful. I did end up using that for the final build. And I did, it looks like at this point, I did sort of have a graphics card chosen. This is not the graphics card I really ended up using. I just ended up using one that was better because I found it for, I don't know, like $40 on eBay. Almost everything else I used on Amazon. And I think if I were to do it again, the goal is to get everything to show up at the same time. I might have shopped on eBay more. I think there's some really good deals on eBay. And I would make it so that I could do returns. And you just want to get returns and you want the stuff to show up at the same time so that you can put it together all at once and test it. And so if anything's wrong, you can return it. That was sort of my philosophy going in. I thought it would be easier on Amazon. I could have easily spent more money than I had to, but it was my first ever build. I wanted just some familiarity, I guess. And I'm not like super great with eBay. This This motherboard is not what I ended up going with. So
stuff, and
let's see,
5500, but
so these are CPU benchmarks. Benchmarking CPUs I find really helpful, just for figuring out speed stuff. I think I did end up going with that card. I don't know how much of this. It took me a really long time to like figure all this stuff out, and I've been shopping kind of for years. And so like I don't really know if there's a way I could have done that faster. So for the choosing a motherboard process, I would say, oh, I don't like that habit. I think it's important to get a good motherboard, unless you're just trying to do kind of like a burner build, which is just like you're trying to build something really minimal and like just get your hands working on a PC. If I had to do this again, I originally started out saying I would pay less. I ended up going with more. I don't know how I would do it next time. I think it kind of depends. Like, honestly, I would try and build one for someone else my first time and get paid, if that was possible.
Okay, if you haven't seen the last video of this series, and it was the first video,
part picking still.
This Nick, I mid and full.
So, I do think full tower is sort of the way to go, or the mid tower, whatever the like. I don't think I'd do that any different. Building small seems difficult.
Let's see.
Like in those micro ATX or whatever, I would choose the same tower size. And in terms of case, I would do this same case. The problem with this case is that it's heavy. So, or it feels heavy to me. If you're unfamiliar with the case we used, it was like a, what is it? I'm trying to remember. Somewhere in this series. It's listed in all the descriptions, or most of the descriptions, and should be listed in the playlist. But the case is my favorite part of this build, hands down, I think. It just everything felt and feels right with the case. So I would do the same case, and I bought it used. If I could do it used again, I would. And that's kind of it for number 3. Number 4, it seems like I chose the case. I was just researching.
The build is designed to be upgradable.
All right, let's go to memory.
Okay.
Memory was interesting because memory was the only thing that I bought new. It had to be bought new. If I wanted this memory, which I did. I was basing this build off of David Malloway's build, who's a streamer. Or not a streamer, sorry. He makes videos. But when we started, or like, you know, he knows a lot. I knew this person and I've met this person before, and we'd talked about this type of stuff, and like, so it's not based on some influencer thing. I wouldn't. This is kind of weird to say, but I guess I wouldn't. I would be wary of influencers, especially the more popular ones, in terms of like building based off their builds. But I guess it depends on what you're trying to do. But yeah, I wanted to just use the same thing because again, it was my first build. If I was doing this again, I would pick up used RAM. I don't know if it really matters. I don't think it can mess up the other system.
Okay,
or it can really mess things up. Maybe it can. But yeah, in general, I think I would just use more eBay type parts with return policies and good ratings for the people. I was looking into robotics development distro. I think I'm happy with Ubuntu. That makes sense to me. When I say happy, I just mean it's purpose specific, right? Ubuntu is like, I already knew Debian, and
so
whoops.
Okay,
sorry.
so
I'm trying to. I already knew Debian, and Debian's kind of like the old stable thing. Some people go with Mint or whatever, but just like when I looked across different things for different use cases, Ubuntu just seemed like the most built out. Ubuntu seems like the most sort of general purpose to me. It's the most like sort of plug and play Linux distro, and that's what I wanted. It's not my favorite in terms of like if I'm trying to just learn stuff or optimize or whatever. I still love Nix, but in terms of just things already being built and trying to use a computer and think about it minimally, I would stick with Ubuntu. So choosing a cooler. I am happy with the cooler I chose. I think it makes sense to get a good cooler. I think it saves energy on components overall. I think the coolers use the same amount of energy. So the Assassin, whatever, Peerless Assassin, like, I don't know what I'm looking at here, but I ended up going with the Peerless Assassin. And I don't have any regrets about that. Probably got it used too. Pretty sure I got everything used. Even if it was just like a few bucks off. I don't know. I'm a fan of used. I would continue to get used stuff. What tools should I use to test a PSU? So with this, I ended up going with the multimeter, the OON 1041, OON XDM 1041. Is that what it's called? And the one I got was used, and it made a weird sound. It did work. I made the tests. I don't know if that was necessary, but I was want to use PSU, so I wanted to make sure the PSU wasn't going to fry the rest of the parts. And so I'm drinking water. And so yeah, so I need a multimeter. I wanted to plug in one. I would do that again. I think I would do the same one. It's not available used online right now, and maybe I would get that same one. I like the plug into the wall. I think you get more bang for your buck. That's my working theory on that. I don't really know much about multimeters. I'd probably use the same one or maybe another older plug-in one off eBay, but those seem to be really old or get really expensive quickly. So yeah, so chose a multimeter. We'll skip number 9. It looks like I looked for a cooler again, and then, or I chose the cooler, and then I guess I wrote my full parts list. Is this true? Let's see where I was at in video number 11. Yeah, this is what I ended up building with, besides the different graphics card at the end. All right. Unboxing the parts. I do remember doing something here that I would have done differently. And I'm trying to remember what it is at the moment. I don't know. Maybe I'll remember and come back to it. So yeah, this is me testing with the multimeter. One thing I thought about doing was having a power. Like, I think this is something I still think about, is like having a really good power bank, or power bank slash, what's it called when, like if there's electricity, there's a surge protector. I kind of wonder if there's some electrical issues in understanding this first, like maybe having a basic understanding that first. Like I kind of want that before I build more. It does feel a little ridiculous, like playing with a bunch of expensive parts and not really understanding like how to protect stuff. This repair mat is good. It's not fully magnetic. These little like, there's a few little magnetic things up here. I wanted the whole thing to be magnetic so this all screws and things would stay in place that are magnet, you know, like metal or what's it called? Magnetized metal, whatever is magnetic, magnetic metal. So the anti-static mat is, I like it. I do think the black, and I knew about this in advance, but I didn't want the blue because blue just seemed hard on my eyes. It seemed hard on the eyes in general, so it seems like working over a long period of time that was hard. So I was set against blue. I think if there was gray, I'd probably go with that. Having magnetic thing, I would try and get a full magnetic thing. I forget what else this mat is. Let's see. Heat resistant, yeah, also good. Besides that, though, you know, it's treated me well. Let's see, case prep. Okay, so I was watching that video. If you go back and watch those videos, I was sort of following this. I think he's Scottish. I forget his name. And he was saying, like, he did all this case prep stuff, and I maybe went too deep on that. I do think it's really worth it when you're about to build. I think it's worth it to become really familiar with the case. So whatever that means for you, watching videos, like taking it apart, putting it back together, like, I think just like, maybe next time I would create a video that it would just be like, first of all, recording the whole thing, super valuable. So I'd recommend doing that if you can. And it doesn't matter how, like, it's better to record it in really crappy quality than no quality at all. The case, what was I going to say? In terms of, yeah, I would make a video of just familiarizing myself with the case. I think that would be helpful as a reference throughout the build. And I think there's just a lot of little things on cases that even when you see in reviews, you're not going to notice. Like, there's just different people notice different things. One thing I didn't realize about this case is it doesn't have a USB-C Thunderbolt. It doesn't have some port that, or maybe I'm tripping. Yeah, no, okay, the case has a little port up here. It's called like a USB-C. It's like a Thunderbolt. I forget what it is exactly. And my motherboard doesn't have that support thing. So it's a little thing. It would kind of be nice. I remember being a little annoyed, but it didn't really matter. But yeah, I don't know. Just getting familiar with the case, I think, is a hard thing to do. Maybe I would look up the case more online first. I still love this case. I still just wanted to sort of listen to a person. So maybe I would write like a list of all the things I wanted in a case. And I think in general, I would write a list of all the ways that all the things I would want to build beforehand. I think having a written thing to reference is helpful in terms of like having build creep and, you know, you don't go off the rails and do something you didn't intend, which I did a little bit. So yeah, lists are helpful. I would probably write a better list, another list. Where's 14? Or we're at 14. Okay. Let's see if I do anything else here. I'm starting to, like, you see that I have the motherboard pulled out of the case. There's some different things. Let's see. I'm going to add this real quick. Motherboard test after cooler. I'm just writing that because I'm going to go over that a little later in this stream. All right, 15. What do we got here? This is so clicky. All right, so I ended up ordering. This was I got the different thing. Like, I got the different. What am I trying to say here? So this is an AMD Ryzen Pro 3700, right? That's different than the 3700X. They're essentially the same if you look them up and do research. But I was kind of freaking out. I was like, oh, did they send me the wrong thing? It's hard to know. I think maybe having some sort of timeline build plan.
I ordered.
Like, because, like, let's see. If you have, like, 8 different parts. Well, I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it's just me being nutty. If you have like 15 different parts or whatever, and they're coming at different times, and you have to, and you're trying to get everything built, and you have like a 30-day return window, or some is 90 days. eBay has like one of the things I got off eBay had a 90-day return window. That was great. But like having an actual build plan to reference so that you know your progress, like to me, it was kind of this like manic mess of like, I got to keep going. Or at least that's how it feels in hindsight. Like it was like, oh, I got time. And then I was just like, I probably made mistakes at that. So it's literally having a build plan that's like, build plan. Let's see. It's like week 1, get parts. Week 2, make sure motherboard works. Like, and just within this, be like, A, the first thing to do. B, maybe I'm beating a dead horse with this. C, but like you get the point. Like A, have to have this done. B, have to have that done. Just like the more detailed of a plan that you can have, the better, because you don't have to reference it, but it'll help you think, it'll help you prioritize, or it helps me think, it helps me prioritize. I would do that. And then having like little if statements. I think just like planning always pays off. So plan as much as possible. I would plan as much as possible. Now that I'm thinking about this, like I do want to build again. I just don't want to build for free, I guess. Like I don't, there's not a computer that I want or anything. And so, it's just making me think about like that in the future, like just planning, I guess. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there, so I didn't sound very intelligent. Okay. Yeah, so this is just me talking about the differences between the Ryzen, whatever you say, Ryzen. 18 is testing the PSU. And so, yeah, I don't remember if I would do anything different here. I remember having like not enough hands, so I might order one of these, like, I guess I'll pull one up here. Let's see. Maybe I don't need to pull one up. I'm just trying to remember the name. Basically, something that holds things apart, like little clips or whatever. You can see I'm holding these test leads. Maybe you can't see. Oh, here we go. So like I'm trying to like hold 2 separate test leads, and you have to hold, right? So you want like clamps or something. This isn't a great visual. You want clamps or something to hold electrical things so that they don't touch. That's something I kind of thought about. Maybe I don't remember if I really thought about it, and like it was a little scary. It was a little scary doing it. So that's something that I would do differently. Clamps for holding electrical. Yeah. All right. What's next? Installing the CPU. Okay. I don't remember if I would do anything differently with this. I think I did fine. It's the tutorials online are terrible. The CPU won't. It should just fall into place. And so like there's this little triangle thing that you match up with like another little triangle if I remember right, but like if you just let the thing fall into place, and if you turn it and it doesn't fall into place, you just don't force anything. In general with mechanical things, it's like, why would you force anything? Things shouldn't be forced. And to some degree this is like you have to get used to the touch or whatever of it. But like I don't know why this took me 40 minutes. I don't know what I'm yapping about here. Maybe it was useful. I don't but yeah, so that's in terms of installing the CPU. Which slot to install the graphics card in? The short answer is, if I remember right, it's kind of just, generally speaking, it's almost always like whatever's closest to the CPU. And I don't know how much of a difference it makes, but it's basically like how the bus works. And the buses are the little like electrical lines, my understanding, that carry, electrical signals from one part to another. So you want the closer one, or like 1. I think it's 1 in this case. There's So yeah, that's where to install that. What is, I mean, 22 now? Why is that like that?
I have a PNY.
I need a new mouse. So the slot, internal graphics card slot, that's the same thing. It's the same deal. You can check the CPU or the motherboard diagram, and it'll usually tell you. I think that's what I checked. But yeah, I don't think I would do any of that different. Installing GPU, testing motherboard. All right, because we're here, this is this part. Test after cooler. I made the mistake, like people, there's different thoughts on this. Ugh. What is even, I don't know. I don't understand why Vim is being this way, and it's pissing me off. So test after cooler. So basically you can try and boot the computer if you're trying to test boot. You can boot without having the cooler installed, but you can overheat your thing. And so like you can overheat the CPU and it can damage things. And I think I probably did it terribly. I did it twice, like I think back to back. And like, so if I did it over again, it's kind of a pain because you don't know what you're doing, but I think I would put the thermal paste and the, if I could, I would put the thermal paste and the cooler on top of this CPU here before trying to boot the computer. And the reason is that it's just like, I just don't think that's good. I don't think it's good for it to get too hot. I think I burned my finger on it after touching. I was just like, oh, I wonder if it got really hot. Yeah, it turns out it did get really hot. So, and then I don't know if that blocks it, makes it harder to put in the case, right? So you basically have like, the cooler is like this big, right? That's the CPU. It's this little metal rectangle. And the cooler is like much bigger. So I don't know if it blocks screws from like putting in the case or whatever. Maybe that would be a hassle. Maybe you'd have to take it off again, waste some, take it off, put it back on again after putting it in the case, and you'd end up wasting thermal paste. I don't know, but I do know doing that over again, like I wouldn't do it. I certainly wouldn't boot it twice. The newer stuff, they're supposed to auto shut down when they start to feel hot. I still just don't think that's good. That's my opinion on that. That is sort of a toss up. I don't know like what I'll do next time, but I don't like the way that I did it. Where are we at? 24. Still 23. 24.
Okay, so the question.
Yeah, this was just me checking to see if everything's correct. Definitely think this is a great move. I like that I did this whole playlist. I like that I pulled the internet. Like, look at these. We got a bunch of comments here. And like, sometimes it just helped me think. And sometimes I got bad advice or whatever, or maybe not bad, but just like, it's like, but it is helpful. It's helpful to sort of ask the internet. And so like, some of this stuff is for you guys, and some of these videos, like this video is more for me. It was more just like, is everything right? Am I going to break something that's going to cost me a lot of money? So I do like that I did that. I would do that again.
Well,
man. Okay, let's see. Which pins? This is me looking up the pins. So there are these little there's these little devices I want to get to. So basically, all right, let's see here. Down here, how is it? I think it's right here. Somewhere down here, like all the pins are, and you basically take something metal that's not fully metal, right? Because you don't want to shock yourself or whatever. I think that's how that works. Take like a screwdriver with a plastic edge. You hold by the plastic edge. You touch a couple pins together. It'll say which one's on the motherboard diagram, which kind of takes a minute to figure out, or it took me, I think. Those pins will boot up the computer. There are these little things. I felt a little weird about that because like it's not super. To me, it's like it's not hard to touch the two together. It doesn't seem like it would be super hard to also mess it up and touch a third one. I don't know if that fries things. So there is this little switch thing you can buy. I think it's like $12 or something. I don't remember. But this little thing, it basically just goes over those two pins. It's a little button you click, and that basically just, I would imagine that button just is a little mechanical thing that like touches two pieces of metal together, and then it boots the computer for you. I like that. I think if I think that thing maybe makes sense depending on your risk appetite and whatever. I didn't use it. I forget what it's called. But I think if I were going to build more computers, I would probably get one. Okay. All right.
All right.
This is where I start the saga of the what's wrong with the GPU. And the answer was nothing. I'd never built a computer before. I've never had a gaming computer. Like, I've never had a dedicated graphics card before. So I spent a crazy amount of time not knowing why the computer wouldn't boot. And I went down this long, like, saga. And the reason it wouldn't boot was because I literally went and talked to, like, a computer specialist person, and we tested the computer there. And I think I figured out there, like, after calling a company and going, and, like, they were really helpful. Like, after that whole saga, I realized that the display port, right? So there's HDMI and DisplayPort, and DisplayPort is like the one that's on modern GPUs, or at least this GPU. I realized that you had to plug the GPU directly in the monitor, and that was not clear to me, which, like, this was probably the silliest sort of mistake and long waste of time. Like, I just didn't know that. Like, my whole life, the monitor plugged into an HDMI. The HDMI, I was like, oh, I'll just plug the HDMI into the motherboard. Nothing said it online. Like, I didn't think to be like, oh, where do you plug in the thing? Like, where do you plug it? Like, to me, it was just obvious. And so, like, maybe going back, anything that felt obvious, I would question. Maybe I did that, but I think another thing is, like, if I had someone around to help build, who'd build before, I would, like, maybe ask them sooner or ask them. I don't think I really felt like I had that or did have that. And so it was kind of on my own, and which is why I ended up, like, calling a company. But yeah, I'm not sure. Like, if you feel like you're getting caught up on something that's, like, potentially really stupid, I don't know. Because I had to build it quick. So, like, I don't know what I would do. Just grab a drink of water real quick, or just taking a sip. This is real. This is tough. Has me thinking, or failing to think. So yeah, so that's that video, and then let's see. Want to install the Purist Assassin. I was confused about the standoffs. I don't know. I think that was just me being like, I'm trying to remember what the confusion was.
And like more people comment there usually. Extra little bag. All right, so that's one bag. So
all the stuff's labeled in directions. I don't know what I was confused about. Use the right standoffs. Like, go slow. Go be methodical, you know? Work on it every day. That's what I did in the last time. I think it's just like, just literally getting myself in front of the build and like trying to move forward was how I got this thing built. And like within a reasonable window. I think could have returned most things or everything. Maybe not, but yeah, I felt like it was on the cusp there at the end, and like just going and like when in doubt, just going and sitting in front of it and trying stuff without risking breaking stuff. Like, that method worked well for me. I think it works well for me in general in projects. What's this? This is me still on the standoffs thing. So yeah, one of these videos actually got a lot of views. Yeah, this one, I think. Yeah, so this had 2.7k views, which is way more than my average and whatever. And it's because like the ad online is confusing. I forget what it is exactly, but it says to use the black ones and you're supposed to use the red ones or whatever. It's like not intuitive. And these, I think, are the red and the black are the same size. Those are for Intel. These are for AMD. And those are for, like, I forget. But, like, it was very confusing, and I sort of broke it down in this video. If something's confusing that a company resource does or something, that's, like, you especially want to make a video then. Because it's, like, you're not the only one that's confused. People want to help. Look at this. Look at all these comments. I don't even remember this many comments. But yeah, like, it just helped me move forward. Yeah, I'm actually, I feel like I have more to say on that, but I guess not right now. What just happened?
All right, team, new question.
Same problem. Confirming spacers. I don't know what I'm doing here. This is me for 12 minutes being like, Art, use the red ones or use the black ones? Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I was just confirming I'm in front of the homies. Let's see.
Hello. We're going to be
Installing the heat sink. Oh, would I do any of this differently? I already talked about the order. Oh, man. Okay. You see how I put, like, what is this? This is not. Does that look like a P to you? That was so much harder than the internet makes it seem. And so I did get a used Peerless Assassin, so I don't know if they, like, ordered the Peerless Assassin and then they used some of the... I didn't feel like I had enough. And they used some of the thermal paste and then put it back and returned it. This is the problem with used parts. I didn't feel like I had enough thermal paste. And it felt more dry. And so, like, I don't think I've had throttling problems. I wouldn't know. I was checking the temperature after I did this because I was super unsure. But yeah, just making, it's all these little things that it's like, make sure you have. And if you don't have, like, order right away and then you can return it if, like, you don't use it. But this is like $6. And if that had slowed me down so that I couldn't have returned, like, a $700 part or whatever, like, with a thermal paste tube hit cam empty or something, like, I would have been salty. I don't know how many $100 parts I should say. Like, say I couldn't return, like, just this motherboard or something. It would have been like $100 or $120 or something. So yeah, just the little things that are like $6. I'd say have extra of those. I do end up having too many parts, but I'm glad that I spent the extra $30 or whatever on all these excess parts. I have them now. It's kind of just wasted money and space and whatever, but like, it's a hedge. It's offloading risk, kind of. All right. Well, is there anything else? Yeah, you can see it's a mess. Look at this. I was like, oh, I'll flatten it out over the whole thing, and then there just wasn't enough. So salty. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do. I guess I'm just going to put the thing on. The benefit of this is, like, the cooler that I have is, like, kind of way overpowered, which is my goal, right? I wanted to... It's like spending a little money on a cooler to keep a more powerful, keeping everything, like, better over the long term is, like, that's kind of my way. So I was like, all right, whatever. First build. I don't know what this is. This is my, this is the camera freaking out, I guess. All right.
All right.
See, look at this. It's a mess. It's a mess. May cost me money in the future. Like, on this specific build. I don't know. I think if I were to do it all, maybe I would build a cheaper computer first. It's just like I didn't want a cheaper computer, so if I wasn't going to put the effort to sell it, it was like I just didn't, you know, whatever. All right. Let's see. Just seeing if there's anything else. It did feel a little clunky. I don't know if like having a workspace that's good is helpful. I don't know if I would have done anything differently. I just want to get it done.
What's up?
Like, I did feel like I could have had a better workspace probably. The fans install. I still don't know whether to put it, like, if you put, because you get to choose, right? So, like, I think the fans, where do the fans go? They go somewhere, like, all right here, right, there's one right here. I put them there and there, and I think I ended up moving this back one over to the front. There's different opinions on this. This one, that to the front made way more sense to me. I forget why. But, yeah, I don't know if I'd do it differently. There wasn't a clear answer online. You can see I think I'm looking it up here, trying to decide if I was going to move it. I actually don't know what I'm doing here. All right, what is this? We're at 32. All right, so we're almost halfway through. I am going to mention this now because I don't want to have to come back to this. I would choose a better graphics card. And if that meant getting worse other stuff, I think I would still get a better graphics card. But like getting a graphics card that's compatible with Linux, basically like say it's 2014 and right, like, or I don't know, basically like I bought a graphics card from before when they started making drivers specifically for Linux, and to have this specific thing just saves the world of trouble. I don't have a good solution for this now, and so like I should upgrade the graphics card that's currently on this system. But yeah, if you get a graphics card that actually has a driver that's appropriate for the card, that's like designed for it, like rather than whatever random driver I'm using right now, that was just plug and play. Yeah, that I would probably do differently. Like having a fully compatible machine, I think makes a difference. And I could have spent more time on that. That's going to be all for this video. In the next one, I guess we'll start with 33 or 32. Let's see which one. We're starting with 33. Start with video 33 for next video. Yeah, I hope this was helpful, like for your build, or if you're trying to decide stuff, like, yeah, put it in the comments if you have questions, obviously, and I'm gonna keep going. My plan is to make another one, or to get through the whole process here. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time.